What if Batman v Superman was good? Now, I don't actually think Batman v Superman is a terrible movie. I just watched the Ultimate Edition, which actually ties up a couple of loose ends and overall puts the movie in a much better place than the theatrical version. The movie still, unfortunately, suffers from a few problems. The main of which is a very weak motivation for Lex Luthor to pit Superman and Batman against each other, which can kind of be waved off because, Luthor's crazy and evil and he can just be doing stuff for the heck of it. A lot of the criticism that this movie gets is that Batman kills, and that goes against the Batman in the comics. But to be honest, I don't hate this idea because this isn't the Dark Knight Batman. This is an older, much more worn down Batman, and the idea that he's become so harrowed by his time fighting crime to no respite that it has led him to kill his victims works for me in order to cement his character as someone who would take a no-nonsense stance towards Superman. Plus, it helps to contrast with Superman's character, who's virtuous and all good. The only problem here is that Superman in Zack Snyder's version doesn't really display his virtue as openly to really make that contrast super duper clear. But if we consider the movie I'm gonna pitch as a sequel to my version of Man of Steel, this problem is kind of automatically solved because we already got a workaround to Superman's killing of Zod and cemented his heroism and value for human life in a stronger way. If you haven't seen that video, I strongly suggest checking it out. A lot of this movie totally works as it is. It just needs a little bit of retooling to get it just right. So let's get to it. You have to open with Bruce Wayne just running through the falling debris of Metropolis. All this is just fantastic and really works in setting up Batman's motivation. After this, we have the scene in the Indian Ocean where the divers discover the kryptonite while Lois Lane arrives in Kenya. She meets Jimmy Olsen. I know that this doesn't make the movie better, but I really don't like that Jimmy Olsen gets such an unceremonious death. I don't know what Zack Snyder is trying to prove here. Just let this be some other dude. Anyway, we see the Russian mercenary, Lois gets taken hostage and Superman bursts through the ceiling. So in the movie, Superman straight up flies that dude through the wall of the building. The impact and whiplash, not to mention the fact that Superman straight up breaks the sound barrier every time he flies, would for sure have killed that dude. And just because Lois took her hands off the guy doesn't mean that he wasn't still holding on to her. She would totally get pulled with him. I think it would be so cool if instead we kicked into slow motion and showed Superman zooming up to the dude, just easily prying Lois off him, giving him the slightest nudge so that when we jump back into real time, he just goes flying and gets knocked into the wall, totally getting knocked out. He takes Lois and flies off, and they can have a moment. Meanwhile, the Russian mercenary and his gang kill and burn the entire village. The senator calls Superman to come to the capital to defend himself against allegations that he killed the village, and Batman is straight up branding criminals in Gotham. Then we cut to the scene where we introduce Lex Luthor. I know a lot of people criticize Jesse Eisenberg's performance, but I honestly think it generally works in this movie. He's a big old cliche, but he does it well and actually sells himself as a rich, bratty kid using his dad's money and big brain to gain power. The only thing I'd change, which is a holdover from the last movie I pitched, is that we show him trying to convince the senator to give him access to the kryptonite that the government grabbed from the North Pole, where Zod was killed. Because they've been doing tests and Lex wants more to learn about what would be able to hurt Superman as a deterrent. In my version, maybe the government doesn't have hands on the kryptonite they found in the Indian Ocean yet. That way, Lex is able to steal it easier, and the whole thing has a bit of momentum. Story is pretty straightforward for a bit, so we can keep it as it is. Batman does his sleuthing, looking for the white Portuguese, leading him to Lex's fundraiser. Clark and Bruce meet, they have a bit of verbal sparring. Bruce tries to steal Lex's info from his drives, which gets intercepted and stolen by Diana instead. Bruce meets Diana, who returns the drive and reveals that it has a photo of her in it that she wants but can't retrieve. Bruce returns to the Batcave, starts to decrypt the drive. He dreams about Superman, has a little premonition about the parademons, and then gets visited by the Flash from the future. This scene is so goddamn cool that I don't even care if it doesn't pay off in Flashpoint. But God, I hope it does. It's been the Batman show for quite some time now, so let's cut to Lois as she tries to investigate the bullet from the war zone, finding out that it was manufactured by LexCorp. Alfred and Bruce argue about Bruce wanting to kill Superman, with Alfred trying to explain that they shouldn't be enemies, but Bruce asserting that Superman cannot be trusted because he's simply too powerful, which is a good motivation. Batman tries to steal the kryptonite and is met by Superman. Here, Superman should talk a little more than what he says in the movie. Just a little little bit of talking about the fact that Batman used to be a symbol, an idea, connecting it to his own symbol, saying that it's a symbol of hope. But now Batman is a symbol of fear and death. Batman should retort, saying that Superman doesn't give hope, Superman is a sign of despair and oncoming doom. And Batman can say that he has learned that those that don't learn to stay down need to be put down. Superman wants Batman to hang up the cape, because if it comes to it, Superman won't be the one going down. Just a little more antagonizing, but with more purpose, and also trying to show their personality traits and differences in philosophies a little bit. Reasons to fight each other. Superman goes to the Senate hearing and the building explodes. Clark, grieved from his failure to save the people in the Capitol building, prepares to leave Metropolis. Martha Kent is kidnapped. Lois figures out that the bomb was lined with lead, which is why Superman couldn't find it, but before she can do anything, she's nabbed by Lex. Lex uses her to lure Superman out and blackmails him with Martha's life to go and kill Batman. Clark should have a moment here where he realizes that this has all been Lex's plan, even the downward spiral of Batman. I want to give Lex a better monologue here, because in the movie he's kind of just rambling about gods and people, but I really want to showcase the psyche of Lex Luthor. I want Lex to talk about how Clark came down from the sky and just joined the humans, in America no less, where so many people try to come as refugees and are turned away. Superman has powers beyond human imagining and no one can come close to him, making him the single most powerful person in the world. He caused so much destruction in Metropolis last year, and he can be yelling this over Clark's protest that he was trying to protect everyone and it was Zod who caused the destruction. And Lex reiterates that Zod would never have come here if it wasn't for Clark hiding among the people. And don't forget, in this movie, Superman doesn't don the cape until he's forced to come out into the open by Zod. So Lex is kind of justified calling Clark a hypocrite here. All the people who died, their blood is on Superman's hands, and who will hold him responsible? Who will he answer to? According to Lex, he will answer to the one human who dares to defy him. He'll answer to Batman. And one will kill the other. Either way, the world will know who Superman really is. He sends Superman off, Lois tells Clark everything, and he heads to Gotham to try and convince Batman to help him. When Superman and Batman finally confront each other, it simply takes too long for them to start fighting. And Superman could totally have explained everything by then. I think the fight should be a lot dirtier than that. I think even before Superman gets to land at the fight venue, Batman should immediately jump into action, attacking him as hard as he can and not give him even a moment to talk. The following fight scene is fucking fantastic, and I wouldn't change even a moment of it. I love how as the kryptonite wears off and Superman gets stronger and stronger, Batman's punches sound like he's hitting metal. It's a great touch. Eventually, as Batman has the upper hand and is about to kill Superman, instead of him just saying save Martha, because who says that? Like, which son would refer to his mom by name, especially in his dying moment? It's not like Superman ever actually calls his mother Martha. He should say save my mother, and that should be enough to throw Batman off guard. And then maybe if you still want to keep it, Superman can say save Martha, which confuses Batman to all hell. Lois then arrives and explains that Martha is his mother, and I would add a little bit more from Lois here, where she can explain everything about Clark, because he knows everything about him in the next movies anyway, so it helps humanize him in front of Batman, so he can realize that Superman isn't just some all-powerful god who stands above everyone, but just a boy from Kansas who wants to live among the people. Finally, now joining forces, Batman goes to save Martha, Superman goes to confront Lex. The rest of the movie is absolutely fine. I wouldn't change a thing. Lex releases Doomsday, Superman and Batman are joined by Wonder Woman, and they all fight. Eventually, Superman kills Doomsday using the kryptonite spear, sacrificing himself in the process. At the funeral, they all mourn Superman. Bruce and Diana start to discuss bringing together the other metahumans, and the movie ends. And there we have it. The second half of the movie is actually very good, so I didn't change much. I just added some more stuff to nudge the whole thing in a more understandable direction. I hope you liked my attempt. Up next is the Justice League. Please consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.